Hey, good morning. Welcome back to the channel, or good afternoon or evening, depending upon where you're at. My name is Jason, and today what we're going to be discussing is terminal tackle as it pertains to weights and swivels and other little accessories that you may use or may wonder about using when you're going fishing. The goal of this series, the basic series, is really to help the novice or the new angler get an understanding of the equipment that we use and how we use it before we actually step out there on the water and put it to use. So let's jump right in today. The first thing I want to talk about is weights. When it comes to fishing weights, the purpose of a fishing weight is pretty simple. It's to provide you with a little additional weight to help get your bait out to the fish. Now they come in a lot of different shapes, a lot of different sizes, of course, ranging from very, very, very small, we're tenths of a gram if you're fly fishing, all the way up to ounces or sometimes pounds if you're fishing in the ocean. Now what we're going to discover today is that you don't need to have a bunch of different types of weights. In a pinch, I've tied a rock to the line just because I broke off my last weight and I was drop shotting and needed a little extra weight, so I just got a small rock and tied it on there. But let's talk about the first type of weights that a lot of people will encounter. These are known as split shot. As you can see, these weights have a small jaw in them that when you squeeze, closes. And that allows you to squeeze one weight, 3 weights, 5 weights on the line and give you that extra weight that you need. I find split shots to be really effective because it allows you to change your weight quite a bit. You know, if you need 2 or 3 weights on there for one location, and you move to a second location that's a little bit shallower, then you might only need 1. So you can just reach down there and squeeze those and they pop right off the line. Okay, and I'll demonstrate that here for you. So you squeeze them on, and then squeeze them off. Sorry, Mom, I'm still using my teeth. I really recommend that everybody uses tools, the right tools, when you're fishing. We'll talk about that in a different video. So that's your first one, split shot. Now split shots are great. You can buy a little package of them that usually come with a variety of different weights and they're different sizes. That's perfect for somebody who may be fishing a lot of different spots, or if you're fishing moving water and you're going to be changing out your weights a lot. You know, those little packages are nice. You can clip them right on your gear or drop them in a backpack. Okay. A second really common type of weight that you may see out there are the weights that allow you to tie directly to a loop on the weight. Now this is known as a bell sinker. And bell sinkers are used for bait fishing, drop shotting. There's a lot of different applications. But with this sinker, the way that it differs from the split shot is that you simply tie this weight directly to your line, and normally with a hook above it, and that provides you the weight that you need. Okay. Again, this is a bell sinker. And they come in different shapes as well, depending upon what you're going to be doing. This is designed more for river type current. And then of course, smaller. Now this is a tungsten weight. When it comes to weights, you either have lead, steel, or tungsten. Tungsten is by far the most dense for its size, and you can get a much smaller weight that's still just as heavy, which is what I normally fish with. The last type of weight that we'll be talking about today is your slip weight, okay, or a bullet weight. A lot of times these are used when you're fishing a Carolina rig or a Texas rig. Again, you can use them when you're fishing a slip rig for catfish. What's unique about these is that they have a hole in the weight. And what that allows you to do is pass your line directly through the hole of that weight, and that allows that weight to slide back and forth. Okay. Now this is really effective if you need to present your bait above something that is on the bottom, right? Or say you're fishing for catfish, which are very, very sensitive. When they pick up that bait and they start to swim off with it, that weight slides and they don't feel nearly as much resistance, giving you an opportunity for a good hook set. Okay. And again, those also come in tungsten, steel, and I don't have a lead one up here. All right, next thing that we'll talk about is an accessory that you use to attach either lures or other lines to your main line, and that's swivels. Swivels are fantastic. I use them a lot, especially on things like inline spinners, for example. Not only do they help you attach new lures very quickly or change out your rigs very quickly, but most importantly is they prevent line twists. Line twists will lead to tangles, and a swivel allows that presentation end of your rig to spin freely, whereas the main line won't twist. There's really there's more than two types of swivels. The two that I'm going to talk about today is your standard barrel swivel. And a barrel swivel just has two connection loops on each end that you tie directly to. And one goes to your main line, the other goes down to whatever you're fishing, and that allows that to swivel as it's retrieved through the water column. The next one is a snap swivel. Now this one usually is not used when you're fishing bait. Okay, this is just like the barrel swivel, except that it has a snap on the end. Now snaps can also come without swivels, and they're just referred to as a snap. But the way that those work is you simply open up a small gate there, take whatever lure you might be fishing, slide that through, secure the snap back into the closed position, and as you can imagine, that allows you the ability to very, very quickly change lure types. Okay. One other thing that we'll cover are beads. Beads are used a lot in trolling. They're used a lot in bass fishing for different applications. They can be used in fly fishing. But what we're going to talk about today is a bead and how it works when you're fishing something like a Carolina rig. One thing about having a weight that slides on the line is if it slides down and it is continually banging against the knot, for example, that can lead to fraying of the knot and making that a weak point. So the way that you utilize, the way that you can utilize a bead is you place that bead between your sliding weight and the knot. And not only does this add a little bit of extra sound, but it also protects that knot from being hit by that weight every time. Okay. Now beads come in a variety of different shapes, sizes, and colors depending upon what your preference is. And some people like to fish with them, some people don't. I really let the situation dictate depending upon the weight that I'm fishing and also, again, the conditions. Okay. One other thing that I'll talk about, and this is something, if you have young kids out there, that I would really encourage you to take advantage of, and that is a bobber, or a float as they're called. Now this is just one type of bobber, okay? This is just a simple flip-on round bobber. Okay, and there's also different types of bobbers, different shapes and bobbers. And without getting long-winded over why they're shaped like that, we'll just say that the ones that are skinny like a pencil, they go under a lot easier, and the ones like this, they don't go under quite as easy. But realistically, all you're utilizing this for is a bite indicator. When this makes a movement either side to side, or what most people expect it to do is brook underwater, right? When the fish pulls, the bobber goes under, and that is an indication that there's a bite. Okay. So if you got young kids, for example, taking a bobber, about 2 foot of line with a hook attached, put a cricket on there, throw it out, guaranteed bluegill catcher. Okay. Now these are great because you can adjust the distance in the bobber really easily. What you want to do is you'll just simply want to squeeze, and this allows that hook there to come out. And you simply place your lure or place your bobber on the line so that it clips and stays, and then do the same thing with the other side, and that allows it to hang right in line. Okay. Now for other bobbers like the stick bobbers and things that I was mentioning to you, they go on a little bit different. They have a spring. You simply pull that spring down to expose the groove. You put your line in that groove and release the spring, and your bobber is now attached. It'll lay flat on the water like this until you get a bite. When you get a bite, that bobber will stand up, unless you have weight on there, and then the bobber will float standing up like so. Okay. So listen, I know a lot of information has been coming at you over the past few days, but really just take a big deep breath. Friday's almost here. We got the weekend coming for fishing, and I'll show you how to put all this stuff together to get out on the water then. Keep keep fishing, friends.